Hello and welcome to another Punters Guide, a quite special one as well this week because we've got a fantastic weekend's racing to look forward to. It's the Midsummer Highlight, the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Jason Weaver as ever alongside before he heads to the ITV cameras this weekend. And Jason, big field handicap, small field group races, everybody catered for this weekend at two of the world's greatest racetracks, Ascot and York.
Yeah, and let's have no complaints. All of the clerks of these courses have been doing a wonderful job. You know, there is a thick swathe of grass cover for these. They're bred to go on quick ground. It's nothing like years gone by when, you know, under these sort of conditions, it literally would be like that. It's much, much better now, and hopefully we get some good, clean racing. We've certainly got some tricky ones to get through. So hopefully a few at a price.
Yeah, let's start then at Ascot then with the 150. It is the Princess Margaret Group 3, 9 fillies, juveniles, all winners so far in their short careers as well. Frankie's on board, the likely favourite in Lazoo. But I say lots of winners in all of them have been in the winners' enclosure before. What are you thinking in the opener?
Yeah, I mean, look, Glen Laurel's going to have her supporters because she bolted up at Thirst, but I don't think the race had that much strength in depth. I watched back Kinta for George Bowie. Looked pretty impressive when she managed to win at Kempton last time, was making all the running. Surely that's not going to be as easy in here. And then you've got Omni Queen, who was basically put on her nose in the Queen Mary and then stayed on behind them, suggesting that 6 furlongs would be ideal. If she's going to be that sort of price, there are two I like really. I mean, main selection would be Minnetinka. Got very, very short race memories in racing, haven't we? She wins by 7 lengths at Salisbury, goes off favourite up at Newmarket, gets beat. They've totally written her off. She's out there, I think, about 7-8 to 1 at the moment. I think she's a massive price. Ryan Moore gets the call, and they're drawn towards the centre, or the horses are in the centre of the track, and he's in the middle. One thing you wouldn't want to be really is caught on a wing. So I think that she's a lot better than she showed up at Newmarket, where she was caught on that wing, and Ryan Moore taking over for the Westover team. And I mentioned Omni Queen. She made a winning debut here at Ascot, put on her nose in the Queen Mary and stayed on again. Trainers are creatures of habit. David Loughnane won this in 2020 with Santosha. That was his first big group winner. That sort of set him on the road to where he is now. But Minnetonka, completely forgotten about in the market.
Oh, yeah, it's a good start, isn't it? And a couple against the field then in the Princess Margaret, one of the biggest juvenile fillies races of the season. From that to those a bit more exposed, the Jockeys Nunthorpe, the first at York. You were talking about this to me a little earlier. You said it's an absolute nightmare. They're not used to going this fast, these jump jockeys, are they?
No, I'm sure when one or two have been running off for them going down to the open ditch, I'm sure that they felt like they were going about 90 mile an hour. Brave lads, it's great that they get a chance to have a zip down here. Tom Scudamore has got a great record in the race as well, hasn't he? And he absolutely loves it. He's on the likely favourite, Val de Travers, who's improved for the Mick Appleby team, but he has to make the running. You know, he's one of those, he's got to go forward. And I think there are a whole boatload of in here that like to go forward. Ebar Gum with Brian Hughes on board. La Roca del Fuego, I have no idea why he ran so bad last time. Even Marnie James is not slow. Got some old favourites like International Dream. They've obviously lost the plot with him. He's dropped over 20 pounds in the handicap and the visors go on. But I think Stone Circle, just because he's not one-dimensional, he'll be able to get a bit of a lead. He's drawn on the right side where they're going to go absolutely flat out. And I think this will be one of those rare races at York where they're coming up for air around 100 yards to go. So Stone Circle.
Stone Circle then for Michael Bell and Harry Cobden. Can he land the jump jockeys Nunthorpe? Right, back to Ascot then for this 225. It's a mile on the for the Group 3 again for the fillies and mares. Interesting little race here. We've got Zanbaq, who's going to be lightly a market leader, lightly raced, although that form of the Royal Ascot second slightly let down with the red. You finished behind Oscular last time out. Yeah, Oscular is a much bigger price in here.
Yeah, I mean, Oscular, she managed to win the Carlisle listed race and then she's run pretty well. Probably the form behind Lanacash is pretty decent at Chester. You know, he's a horse that I've liked for a long time. I've just had a look down through the times. Now, November, over the same course and distance, admittedly 2 days later, clocked 139.99 with carrying 9 stone 2. And then you've got down the bottom 13962 carrying 99, the little 3-year-old, when she ran second up behind the horse you mentioned, Heredia. And I went around trying to find the angle in. Could it be Oscula? Probably think she's a little bit exposed compared to one or two of these. And just with that lightly raced profile, Zanbaq has to be the pick. You know, on the clock, she's done everything right. Maybe she was a little bit further back than ideal when she finished second behind Heredia, and should be coming in here looking for the 3-timer. So Variance team are in real good form. Yeah, I think she'll take a bit of beating.
Yeah, she's read at market leader and Zanbaq in the Valiant Stakes. Back up to the Knavesmire. Then we've got another dash and plenty of old favourites of ours in here. Mondamedge, top of the weights. Aberarm Gold surely deserves a prize for his consistency. But as I say, lots of it followed over a cliff in this dash.
Yep. And again, pace-wise, probably Hyper Focus. He's back up another £5 after a very big win up at Haydock last time. Plenty of these were behind the Waggets run ahead, Ganthafar, who shot up from 78 to 90. So that sort of tempers your enthusiasm. And you mentioned the old favourite up the top, Mondamedge, Gale Force Mayor. He's going to go forward. Why? Nationwide originally cost an eye-watering £525,000 for the Coolmore team. Went to the sales after 2 tries, 10,000 to Johnny Butler's. He's having his absolute best season so far. He got beat by Silver Samurai when they met up at Haydock. But if you go back and have a look at it, the jockey body language, Danny Muscat was waiting to go, and then he just got gazumped. And there's a £6 pull in the weight. I think they know they can ride him aggressively. That was his first try on the turf, so he's bound to improve off the back of that. Johnny Butler could have a decent one on his hands.
Yeah, could do, yeah. Nationwide, remember winning a decent price on the all-weather as well. So Nationwide for Johnny Butler then in that dash up at York. Back down to Ascot for the big betting race of the day. It is the International over 7 furlongs. Lots of old favourites in here. We've got the 1, 2, 3 from the Bumby Cup. Bless him, did me a nice turn there at a decent price. Course Specialist Fresh, Chief of Chiefs. Whose turn is it this time, Jason? It's kind of one of them, isn't it?
I think it is one of those. Big opportunity for Colin Keane, because Jamie Spencer or a couple of the hold-up riders, Hayley Turner, normally ride Chief of Chiefs. This would be nice to just get his eye in before the big one a little bit later on. And look, Bless him's going to be flashing home. Ross Colin has run some big races. I think the Buckingham Palace effort was fantastic. You know, you could go round and round. I've tried to find an angle in with one that's relatively unexposed. And I've come down with a horse who's probably not shown it on the turf as yet. It's King Zain. Now, he threatened to be a good horse for Mark Johnson, didn't he? And he's come back. He's had 2 runs for the Roger Charlton team. He looks a bigger, stronger individual. He's basically like 2 boards slapped together early on, and he may well have just grown into his frame. And if you look back at the horses who have beaten him down the years, there's some very, very good ones in there. So look, he's 16 to 1. It is last chance saloon for him to prove to me that he can go on the turf. His last run here, I think, just thinking back now, it was behind Aldari, who's now rated 117, and it was good to soft ground. It's going to be quick. That's what he needs. Let's hope he can get on with it.
Yeah, I know you're a big advocate of this, weren't you? When Mark Johnston, King Zane's a youngster. It's certainly the switch of yards has done him good. So King Zane then for Jason in the International. From a big field handicap to a small field group race up at York, it is the York Stakes. And all eyes will be on Claymore. Certainly the market suggests he is the one to beat. People are crabbing the Royal Ascot form because odds-on favourite was disappointing, but I thought he did it nicely. And apart from that run in France, which you can put a line through, drawn, wide, rushed up, I think he's a real solid operator.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that you said. And he turned away Reach for the Moon pretty easy, didn't he, when they came into the straight? You know, briefly got to him, thank you very much, and he went away. That continued the brilliant run of Jane Chapel-Hyam at the Royal Meeting. Dark Moon Rising maybe will go forward. Dubai Future was a big winner in the Wolferton. Sabuska, it's his first try. Can you believe that? How long does it seem like he's been around? But it's only, I think, race 36 for him today. It's remarkable. He seems to have been everywhere because we see him every Saturday. I think Dubai Honour will just prove too quick for Claymore around here. He'll probably go forward. I mean, Claymore or Dark Moon Rising. That will leave Dubai Honor to just drop in behind. He went through the gears lovely last year. He finished with a win in the Prix Dollar. It was a Group 2. He was then behind Sealiway. He's been over to Meydan. He's been in top-level company. I think the return to this sort of galloping track here at York will suit him down to the ground. So Dubai Honor, I think he'll beat Claymore hands down.
Yeah, former champion stakes seconds, of course, just bring the top form into the race. Dubai Honor for Jason in the York Stakes. And again, the big race of the weekend is the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. Again, it's a classic generation versus the older horses. Just the 6 going to post. Over £17 million in prize money won between them. It's an absolute cracker. Despite the small field, it's quality over quantity. Are you with the classic generation or are you the older generation, Jason?
It's funny, I always remember walking across just outside of Ascot. You wait for the traffic lights there to cross the road back into the car park. And I was coming out after last year's race, and Mishrif had run an absolute stormer behind Adiyar, who's next to me in the queue waiting, John Gosden. And I said, brilliant run from him, John. And he just looked and he said, it's such a huge amount of weight to give away to the 3-year-olds. You know, it was a fantastic run. And you think £11 to Westover. He's guaranteed to get the trip. Colin Keane has been kept on board because he won the Irish Derby on him. There's still a grey area. Nobody could say he definitely wouldn't have won the English Derby. He's going forward at the right time. He gets the weight allowance. I think if they go a bit cat and mouse, which they shouldn't really, because Broome off his Hardwick win is going to go forward and try and control that tempo. Colin Keane will be pushing the buttons fairly early. You know, I'm not saying it's rounding the turn. He might wait till they come into the straight, but he's going to want to make it a real stretch up to the line. And then, of course, you got the Arc winner, but I just couldn't have him under these conditions. You know, he's got fantastic form and very much respected, but the ground conditions for his sire, Alderflug, it's a big no-no as far as he is concerned. Been wrong before, but I think that Westover, in receipt of all that weight, will take a good bit of beating.
Yes, well, last year we had the first Derby winner since 2001, wasn't it, to win the King George? And is it London Buses syndrome for you then, is it? Quick follow-up for the Derby winner.
I think so. And look, Mishrif, he probably was unlucky, wasn't he, when we saw him at Sandown last time. Sumion was just brilliant and kept him in at a vital stage. And he'll run really, really big. Pile driver, you know, Emily Upjohn down the bottom. But is that filly's form as good as the boys? And she will need to settle. That's key with her. She gets herself a little bit lit up. So Dutori will have his hands full with her. Mishrif, I think he'll chase him home. But he may well look like he's going to beat him at the 2-pole. But when the turbo kicks in and it's down to stamina, I think Westover will hit the line strongly.
Yeah, he didn't win the Derby, of course he didn't. He was third, wasn't he, after that luckless run. He won the Irish Derby, though. Westover, Jason sticking with a classic generation in the race of the day, the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Would he be your best bet? Is there something else we've mentioned that you really like the look of, your strongest pick on the cards?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Westover will take a good bit of beating. I'll give you an early shout for Shining Blue in the Golden Mile. He's being talked up as if he's an absolute rocket. He goes on the Friday of Goodwood, so keep a close eye on him. Can I give King Zain one last roll of the dice? I think so. Look, he won 80 days ago. They could have run him at the Royal Meeting. They didn't. They waited. They're waiting for the big pot here. They think he's on the right side of the handicapper. It's just one. Can he act on the turf? Let's hope so. Last roll of the dice, and he's an each way price.
He is, yeah, King Zain. I know you've been thinking he will come good. You did like him as a youngster. You've had to wait as a 4-year-old. Will he come good at international, Jason? I think so. King Zain is best bet on the cards. Thanks to Jason then for joining us. ITV awaits him at Ascot and York on Saturday and at Glorious Goodwood all next week as well. We're in a busy spell of the best flat racing in the world right now in the height of summer here in this country. Looking forward to what we've got to look forward to. Enjoy the action on Saturday.